Hey guys, hope you're doing well. My name is Matt and welcome to today's weekly open. Today I will talk about a few setups I found in the charts and I will also update you on the few setups that I showed you in the last video. Just a quick disclaimer before we get into the charts, this is not financial advice and you should only trade if you are experienced. So I will start talking about Bitcoin, and if you want to see the other trades, just remember to stick around. Bitcoin on the weekly doesn't look that great, as you can see right here. So the target was 28k, we hit 28k, we even hit 30k actually. We closed above the resistance and now we closed back below, which means that this whole thing was a fake out. And right now the most reasonable target is probably 24k, because if you fake out from a resistance level, it's probably gonna go to the last support. The last support is 24k, so if you are in some shorts, I think that's a pretty reasonable target to have. And if we break from 24k even lower, I think the next target is 21k. Basically the whole weekly setup is as shown here. Also, there's a pretty good daily setup, I think, right now. As I talked about in the last video, I think this was a range. We broke into the range, we faked out, closed below, so I opened my shorts here, and the trade is this thing. If you are not in any trades right now, I think that if you break this support, it's a pretty good trade to take if you are really bearish. So the trade would look something like this. Close below this thing, a daily close would be your open, and a daily close back above would be your invalidation. But I think the more reasonable invalidation is just getting back into this range. That's my invalidation at least, and as long as we're under the range, I'm gonna keep being bearish at least until we hit my targets. So yeah, that's basically about Bitcoin. The whole setup is probably just this fake out, and then we got held from by this support, and if we break down below this, I think it doesn't look that great, and I think you can just keep the weekly targets. Now let's talk about ETH against Bitcoin, or maybe even start with ETH against the dollar. Basically, you have this breakout and then a break back down, so it's a fake out also. Though I don't think the targets on ETH are as clear as on Bitcoin. Basically, this is the first support level on ETH. It's like how much, 1 or 2% down? Yeah, it's 2.5% down. The next target is this one, so I feel like the short on Bitcoin is a bit better. Also, looking at ETH Bitcoin, we are still at the midpoint, which means that we could just bounce back up, and that would mean that ETH wouldn't drop as much as Bitcoin will. If we close this weekly below the midpoint though, I think that taking some ETH shorts could actually turn out to be better than taking the Bitcoin shorts. But right now I'm just short on Bitcoin and I'm waiting for new closes, at least for ETH. Yeah, so that's about Bitcoin and ETH. Let's move on to the altcoin setups. Just a quick reminder, if you are enjoying the video, don't forget to like it, and you can also subscribe to our channel because it really helps us and it's free for you. So the first one is Aptos. Basically the setup is either we start bouncing, so you open the long setup with a pretty clear invalidation right here, but right now I'm not bullish on the market, so I'm not getting into this one. And if we break below the weekly level, the setup is pretty obvious. You just short it. The invalidation is a weekly close back above, or actually it's a daily close, because this setup is the same on the daily, and I think the daily one is a bit better. Basically, I think the most important level on the daily is the same one as on the weekly. It's $9.9, and if we start closing dailies below this level, the first close below I'm opening a short, and the first close back above is my invalidation. About the price targets, this is the first level of support. This whole box, basically the only one. Well, if we break even below this support, it's gonna go way lower, but I don't think we necessarily will. I just feel like this is a great level to just trade around, because it's the last level on the chart that's really big, and even like looking on the weekly chart, there are no other levels than the black line I drew here. So yeah, it's basically the last level, and I like trading the last levels because the breaks from them are usually way bigger than when you are in a range or something. If you open the short setup because we close below, I would take some profits here because we could theoretically bounce from here, and if we break down below, you can open another one if you want to short even more. That's about Aptos. Now let's look on LDO. It's basically the same setup as on Aptos. We have this weekly level. I'm gonna move this a bit. You have this weekly level. If we break below, it's a pretty clear trade. Your target is around here. Your invalidation is a weekly close back above the level. So you would probably open something like this. It's pretty good RR. On the daily, it's pretty similar also. You have this big level of support. You have a 1 bounce, 2 bounces, 3 bounces. This is the 4th bounce if we bounce, and the more bounces you have on a support, the more likely it is to break. So if we start closing, or if we close the daily below the support, I'm just gonna get into some shorts on LDO as well. This is the weekly line I just drew, and on the daily, if you want to be more careful, this is the first take profit. Yeah, you can choose either of these. I think just trade around the levels. If we get towards the levels, you can just look for some lower time frame consolidations and trade around those. And if we just go straight through them, just remember to take some profits. We could also just bounce back up, so don't open the shorts right now, just wait for the closes, be a bit patient, and then the setups could work really well, I think. So that's about LDO and Aptos. Now let's talk about ENJ. I talked about ENJ in the last video. I remember we were above this resistance and we closed back below, which means this whole thing is a fake out again. Basically all the coins you can find have faked out in the last week or so, so it doesn't look really great right now. Yeah, the setup on this is basically the same as everything else. It's a fake out, but right here you have the support that's pretty close to you, so not that great risk reward. Actually, it's really bad risk reward. It's like, how much? It's like 0.25, so I would just wait for us to break this level, and if we do break it, then I think it would make sense to maybe open some shorts, but I don't know, there are probably better setups to short right now. I just wanted to update you on this one, because last time I talked about if we close above this, we could go way higher, but close below, so probably not that bullish anymore. ENJ against Bitcoin, basically the same thing. Resistance, we didn't even close above it, and you can see that we got really like straight up rejected, so we're probably gonna go way lower right now. And that's basically all from me for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like it, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.